Jesus Christ, who brushes their hair anymore, right? People who got their jobs back. Not me. It really, it would not have fit. It would not have fit. So I just watched a movie on Netflix, so it's one of the good ones. Called There's Someone, right? There's someone in your house, right? There's some bitch in your house. That's what it was called. There's a bitch in your house. Yeah, there's someone inside your house, which the title only makes sense for like the first like 10 minutes of the movie. But anyway, cold. So, it's based on a book. I've never heard of it before. I'm guessing it's probably YA related, stuff like that, because it's a movie that takes place in high school. Because, I can relate to that. In all honesty, even when I was in high school and I watched anything high school related, it's like, I don't get this. Because, like, before I was in high school, the stuff felt too old for me. Like, obviously, because I wasn't in high school yet. Then I was in high school, and I still felt like it was like alternate universe, because it's like my high school didn't feel like that in any capacity, and obviously when I was done with high school, then that shit felt way too young for me, and then now at this age it's like, oh my god, the movie, like it was just preschoolers for me. Anyway, so again, I'm basing this this review on the movie itself, not the book. Let's hope the book is better. That whole thing. Jesus, I'm shedding like a cat. So, yeah. What this movie is based on, before I go into, like, spoilers and stuff, is that there's a killer out there who just kills people who have secrets that they've been keeping from people. And it's like, doesn't everyone have, like, a secret? Isn't, like, not everything is anybody's business, I like to sound like such a boomer. It's like, in this day and age where people are oversharing on social media, blah, 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 like, I guess you can make a claim about that. Although I really don't think this movie was, like, that deep about it. Um, anyway, so, yeah. So the first kill, which makes sense, yes, there's a killer. Actually, let me not go into spoilers, my bad. I want to talk about it so badly. Anyway, yes. So there's a killer, and that the killer is coming to kill you, besides the killer being right in front of your face. It's like they're like, I'm here to kill you. It's like, oh shit, you definitely know they're here to kill you because they have a mask of your exact face. God, which I guess it's also trying to, like, again, I doubt it's that deep, but it seems like it's also based on a book, so symbolism galore. It's trying to do, like, your greatest enemy is yourself, and, like, all that, art school stuff. Anyway, so, I want to, I'm trying not to, like, to say spoilers, because fuck. Anyway, yeah, so, one by one, people start dying in this school, and of course the school is like, oh my god, it's like one of these other movies again. Great tragedy has stricken the school, and everyone's freaking out, but we've got to follow this group of whatever fucking friends that for some reason they're the important people, it's always like that. It's like this group of weirdos and outcasts, because we're all it's that whole thing. Anyway, so so then there's kills, there's like, I don't even know if you call it a red herring. It's just like, it's they want you to think it's this person kind of bullshit, and you're like, it's not that person, stop. And then it's like you learning the backstory of the characters, like the group and all that stuff. And then the reveal, which was shit. Like, the movie was fine. Like, I was like, okay, it's not the best thing, for me, for horror, especially I guess in a, like, slasher thing. I'm like, okay, it's kind of, I guess you would say, basic, it's like people are being picked off one by one. The kills were great, the effects were good, the blood effects were awesome, um, yeah, so that was like, how people died. It was kind of cool. It was interesting, Um, but after that, and like again, it was fine. It's like okay, 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 all right, all right, all right, all right. And part of me is like, I have a feeling this is not gonna, like. Of course, if it was good, then I think more. I would have heard about it more. I didn't. I was just looking up like stuff that I just have a list of things that have come out for the year, and I was like, oh well, this is on a streaming service and not in theaters. So let me get to that. Oh, it's 90 minutes. Oh, what's the average score on Letterbox? Okay, you know. Um. Anyway, yeah. So it was fine. It was like okay, okay, go. And then when it got to like the reveal of who the killer was, I was like, oh god. It was just like wow. This just like went. It could have just been like a mid movie, fine, da da da. But like, it was just that reveal in the end. I was like, I'm done. Like, I was just like, that's dumb. It wasn't. I wasn't even like shocked. I was just like, and it's of course it is. It was like, oh god, it was just it was dumb. Yeah, because I know like I mentioned with the Fear Street thing that a lot of people were like complaining about Fear Street. I'm like, yeah, but it had like good characters and like whatever stuff that was like revealed and connected to whatever was like, ooh, this is interesting. Oh, okay, I'm da da da. This was like, like it was like it's not the same level. It's not the same level. All right, I'm gonna go into spoilers. Like as I said, I gave it like 2.5 stars out of 5. So I'm going to spoilers. 1, 2, 3 spoilers. Anyway, okay, cold hands clapping really hurts. That was barely a clap. Ow, that hurt. Anyway, so I'm warming myself by rubbing it inside my pouch here. So like I said, the title of "There's Someone in Your House" makes more like the most sense in like the first 10 minutes, and then like like yes in other parts, but like anyway, I'll get to it. So it starts off. First of all, the movie starts off with a jump scare. Not really a jump scare, but like a stinger. And I was already like, hate you, because I was like I was fixing the I was doing something, and I was like, all right, this is at a normal level, and it's that thing where you hear like it's like a quiet scene. There's a house, and you hear like music like this. All of a sudden, like off to the corner, you hear vroom, a fucking pickup truck, and I was like, why? Immediately, I was like, I don't like this movie. I was like, I don't like this movie. If you're trying to go for that, I don't like this movie. Anyway, so it's like a football jock, and he's like, yeah, you know, like, I'm just gonna take a nap before the game tonight. Yeah, and you're like, okay. And you already know something's weird in the house because there's an egg timer that's on, and he's like, Mom? Dad? That kind of stuff. He takes a nap. He sets an alarm on, so he takes a nap. He wakes up to the egg timer that's now in his room, and then all of a sudden he's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And so then, like, his secret that's revealed is that I guess he was doing some party, which looked more like a frat, like college party that he was at, but who fucking knows? I was never a cool kid. I never was invited to parties. Fuck, now as an adult, I don't get invited to things. I mean, I'm not complaining, but, like, some party that a bunch of these jocks football players went to. I guess another football player got like beaten to death or hurt. Blah blah blah. Pictures start being strewn all over the dude's home, and he's like, "What the fuck?" And he gets in his closet because he hears like his phone because obviously he couldn't find his phone. And then like it was really great because it starts off with just like his Achilles, both of his Achilles just being sliced, and it's like like super red blood, not the orange kind of like fun hokey blood, just super red realistic blood going on. And I'm like, okay, I think I'm cool with this. And of course it's scary because then there's someone like in the like I guess you would say the school, like hoodie, wearing the mask of the guy. Look at him. He's like, what the fuck? And then it's just like, die, blah blah blah, and the movie starts. The second kill. What was the second kill? Anyway, but so the group of friends we're following is the main character's this like Hawaiian girl. It's a very diverse group. It's not. It doesn't get like. It doesn't feel. It feels semi checklisty, but not as bad as like the craft Legacy because it's a cheese. The Kraft Legacy. Each one of them are individually wrapped in this package. Yeah, it's not as like checklisty and like get it diversity as the Kraft Legacy. It just sounds like cheese now. That's really terrible. But it's still it feels very checklisty because the main character is Hawaiian. And then they have like, you know, the outspoken black girl in the group. Then they have like the white Twinkie non-binary, non-binary kid. Oh, and then the kind of like weird guy that's in the group kind of stuff. And then they later kind of like, you know, after the first incident, they like let the gay football player like sit with them because they feel it has to be the gay that killed the guy. I guess, sure, why not? That kind of stuff. Oh, and then there's like the super weird kid in the school who's like brother or something is like a cop, and so like they keep egging on him and call him like school shooter or that kind of stuff, which, you know, if someone has school shooter vibes, the best thing to do is to egg them on by bullying them and calling them names, you know, like that's smart. You know. I mean, I work somewhere and someone straight up told me, they're like, oh, you know, that guy? Yeah, I'm really nice to him because if the day he comes in with a gun, hopefully he'll spare my life. I'm just saying, man. Like, well, but it turns out weird guy that also who drives like the most broken down car, which is fine because you're a teenager and like some of them are like, you know, like they're in like pickup trucks. Also, this is like Nebraska, so it's like super farmland country stuff, which can't relate, you know, that kind of shit. And then, well, one kid has a really nice like pickup truck, but like his dad owns like a company stuff, you know. Talk about, God, middle America stuff. Like, my dad owns a landscaping company. Like, I can't relate to any of that stuff. Jesus. Anyway, this is not about me, and I feel like not represented in this at all. Anyway, so. Yeah, so that weird kid, it turns out, is like technically dating the main character girl, but like she doesn't want to reveal to anyone that they're together. And there's like a scene where they're together and they're like, you know, passionately kissing each other, and she's like, it's a lot of that happening, a lot of like breathy, like, oh my god, like we shouldn't, but I like it, and it's like, oh my god, and then the guy is like, it's okay, like, no, but he's doing the breathy guy thing, he's like, it's alright. Like a lot of that. I'm just watching like, because I'm old and you're like high school age, and I'm like, Chris Hansen's gonna like come busting through my door, and he's like, I know you're sitting down, but I need you to stand up now and, you know, stop eating cookies. I'm like, but I like cookies. Oh, and gosh, she like says the line where like they're in their makeout session. She goes, she's like, you're the only one. God, I can't even say it because it's just so like cringe. She's like, you're the only one I feel like I could be myself with, or like some shit like that, or like, yeah, I could feel like I can let go. Like, shut up, I hate, you know, God, I hate those type of lines, like, oh my god, you're the only person I can like be myself around, that kind of stuff. I really don't understand why she doesn't want to tell her friends that they're dating. Like, again, he's kind of weird, but like your group is weird, you know. It's like, oh no, someone else is even weirder, like he won't fit the dynamic, you know. Like, really. Then again, it's high school, so arbitrary stuff, so I get it. Anyway, Jesus Christ. Oh, and then there was like a party at, oh yeah, so the friend with the pickup truck. So I guess there's nothing really weird about him. I guess they just needed like a token white guy who looks like a super young, you know, Ryan Gosling, like Mickey Mouse Club Ryan Gosling. Anyway, he's a rich kid, and there was like a party at his house, secret party, because they play on words, because it's a secret party that his dad doesn't know, but also a secret party where you just spill the tea about yourself. And this part, it was like, this part got really weird because it's like, obviously everyone is, you know, spilling the tea on their business, but then also the guy was like, hey, do you know how my dad, you know, like got all this money or all this stuff? He's like, well, one, because he has like a farming landscape, whatever, like was dad like Mr. John Deere or some shit like that? Anyway. But then he like shows like a section of the house that, of course, it's like, here's this like alcove, like, room. Not like open the door room. Like, here's is just like a, again, alcove kind of thing, a butler's pantry kind of shit, that he of course has to do a clap, and then, you know, the light comes on, and it's like a fuck ton of Nazi memorabilia, because that's what we need to be seeing right now in this movie. I guess just to kind of remind you that we're in Middle America, because I guess the main casting is too diverse, so you definitely need to be like, wait, hold on a second, remember what America is. Nazi memorabilia. And it's like, I love how everyone was just like, ooh, like that, instead of, dude, what the f-? Like, then again, Middle America, you know. So that happens, and then like the son is like so proud. Oh, the cops are coming after me. I said Nazi memorabilia too many times. And the son was like so proud because he's like, well, I've taken the time in turning all these things into bombs, not bombs, bongs and vapes. And it's like, what? I mean, what? Like, why? Like, I don't know. You probably could have sold it to like a museum, or thrown it away and set it on fire, you know, that kind of stuff. But he's there with like a World War II gun, and he's like putting it in his mouth, and it's like vape nation cloud. It's like, okay. And so everyone's like putting on the gas mask and like cloud. And I'm like, oh my god, I felt like such a boomer watching this, because that part I just had I just thought of like how when vaping was like when it hit its like peak, because I mean, just a lot of people just do it now, but when it was like the thing that everyone talked about, all I kept thinking is just like how older people are like, these kids today when they're vaping and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, you know, you got old people who are like smoking out of the hole in their neck, and that was also weird, because like the movie kept saying things like, who still smokes nowadays? And it's like, what is this, like an anti-smoking, pro-vaping like thing, like thing that's like embedded into this movie? You know, like, people are dying, but you're also like, hey, smoking actual cigarettes is wrong. Smoking, like vaping out of a World War II rifle is fine. Kind of weird, you know. So then, you know, at the house party, of course, like, the lights go down, and we're like, you know, the killer is, oh god, there goes my hair. The killer is suddenly there, you know, with the mask of the weird friend, who the entire time is like popping pills, and you're like, okay, you know, like, things happen. Oh, and then like there was like during the secret thing, there was a confession between him and like the black girl, and they both have had a thing for one another, and now and then they started making out and all that stuff, and after the makeout sesh, that's when he dies. And I feel like, I don't know, man, I feel like that, as sucky as it is that he has like an addiction problem to like fentanyl, which is horrible because it's fentanyl of all things, I don't think it's as bad as like what the other people had, because it's like the first guy, you know, like, he injured someone. I forgot what the second one was. It was just like these people. Oh, the second one was because they were gonna do the memorial service for the first guy who died. The second one was the white girl in the church, and she did like a like conservative blah 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 blah. Yes, she did conservative blah blah. She conservative like podcasts and all that stuff. Which is like, yeah, you know, like, ma'am, you're dumb, but I don't know. I'm like, that's terrible, honey. But then I don't know. I feel like the addicted to painkillers thing is like, that could be redeemable. You know, like, I feel like if you're, I don't know, like, killer guy. You know, there's the guy who like injured someone at a party. There's someone who is just has really dumb takes on things. You know, but then you have someone who, you know, could probably just go into a program, and it's like, I don't know, that's not something to kill them over, but fine, you know. And it's funny because if, you know, I guess, not that you would, but I guess if you do like a second watch of it, you can see like who's missing in that scene, you know, when the killer's there, which I'm kind of surprised that no one caught on to that who the killer was. Kind of obvious. I mean, I like, they were trying to make it that it was the weird guy whose, you know, brother is a cop, because he's the weird school shooter guy that we keep egging on, you know. it's not him. But anyway, so then more people die, stuff happens. Oh, then they start questioning like every student in the school to see, how could they be connected and all that stuff and blah blah blah. Then we start learning more about the main character girl, about like, when she was in Hawaii and what had happened and all that stuff. Apparently it's just like that she was in jail. All you knew at the time was that she was in jail. And then, oh, there's something about fire and stuff like that, because then it's like the killer's coming after her, and it's like, okay, cool, not cool, but like, okay, like, here's pictures of like people burned up. It's like, what the fuck does she do? Is she like an arsonist or something? You're like, what did she do? And then the killer, is there with the mask of her, and then like the black girl shows up and it's like, oh my god, you're hurt, and then somehow the killer just runs away. And I guess it, one, because you knew she was the main character, so she wasn't gonna die, unless they were gonna do that in a movie. But not everyone's that brave. But then also, like, I guess with the friend being there, they were just like, no, no, no. And so anyway, the killer runs off. And also, you learn, like, early on that the killer, like, 3D prints these masks, and, like, by just taking pictures of them, by using, like, their pictures from, the yearbook, and I'm like, like, 3D scanning has to be a thing. I don't know. You're like, 3D printing, that costs money. Having a program that manipulates a 2D image into a 3D image, that also costs money. I wonder who could be the killer. And then, anyway, so that happens. I don't know what else. Anyway, so in conclusion, because really it's just like that is like a good chunk of the movie. And then it's just bad. And then, then there was like like, again, again, they keep insinuating it's the weird guy, because the brother, the cop guy, is like, oh, a taser went missing, and it's like, oh, but his brother's a cop, so he has access to a taser, kind of shit. Oh, and then there's this like weird like grown ass man who should not be around young people, who's constantly like just there after a murder scene, like, I can be your Uber driver kind of thing, just because. And again, they're trying to make it seem like maybe he's a killer, like probably some old dude who hates the young kids nowadays kind of shit. And it's like, let's have that. But again, that's not the killer, because, um, yeah, so there's like there's like a thing in a cornfield of people. Oh, and it's like is it not homecoming? It's a gathering thing, and everyone's there. Um, stuff. I think they're like, not that they figure out who the killer was, but it's we gotta get everyone out. We know who's gonna die next, kind of shit. Because once the main character gets threatened, they're all like, we gotta get, how all these movies do the thing of. Anyway, so they get to the school, and the gay football player goes to hug the main character girl, and you hear the kind of sound, and part of me is like, oh. Like, at first I was like, oh, was it the gay football player? Like, when they initially were blaming him in the first 10 minutes of the movie, and then it's like, no, it's not him. I was thinking, like, maybe it is him, because then they brought him into the group and kind of, like, let their guard down kind of stuff, and then he ends up killing them. I was like, that's kind of interesting. Oh, no, 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 he got killed. He's got the knife, bleeding out, all that stuff. And then, of course, you then realize, of course, it's not the weirdo boyfriend guy, because you see the killer running away while the boyfriend is behind being like, blah, 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 all that stuff. Oh, yeah, so before that, the boyfriend had, like, Googled her and found out that, like, she's, like, what her real secret is kind of stuff. And he's like, again, doing the thing of like, it's okay, I still love you for who you are, but please tell your friends that we're together. And they're like, a lot of that happening. The blank brain. Oh, yeah, anyway, so then, like, the the cornfield is like set ablaze and all that stuff. And they're trying to get everyone out because it's on fire. Oh, because it's not just a cornfield, it's a corn maze. So people are like, I'm trapped. So they're trying to get everyone out, which is good for them, all that stuff. And then you get to like the clearing, like was it like Freddy versus Jason where they're like, anyway, the things are on fire. And then you see like the dad who owns stuff, the farm dad, and then you see the killer with like a sword because why not? The entire time you had like a freaking tanto blade, and now you're just gonna have a katana, and you're wonder again who that could be, And I think like the girl figured it out because then it's like, and then like again the death was great because he just like, all that stuff, and then he takes off the mask, and to no surprise, it's the rich kid. The one who set up the party, the one who was obviously not there when the killer showed up. Like, no one noticed your friend was missing, The guy who's hosting the party suddenly is gone. That kind of stuff. Yeah, so then he's like, oh, I've been waiting for the moment to, like, say his, like, quip before he killed his dad kind of thing. And it's like, oh, it's like he was, like, gonna grab his dad's face. He's like, do you regret like, giving me the art of war, or art of lie, art of sandwich, when I was young? Now it's not as good because he... Like, oh my god. Like, once it was revealed it was him, the entire rest of the movie, I'm just, like, rolling my eyes, like, shut up. Like, he was trying to do that thing of, like, I'm so upset because, I'm failing and my dad's rich and I can't, and I don't see a good future in front of me kind of stuff. It's like, I don't know, dude, like, if you're failing like that and you're not gonna graduate with your friends, just take a summer class, get your GED, and then, I don't know, it sucks, you're probably gonna have to just take, like, like, it sucks, but at least you have a job, you have to work with your dad in his business, but it's better than, like, the other kids in the group who are part of marginalized groups and not a white boy, like, I don't know, honey, just think about that for a second, yeah, he's just like, like, I don't even remember the motivation for the killings to begin with, I guess because he found out people's secret, and I guess instead of blackmail, it's just like, let me just kill people, because I'm a white dude in high school, like, not very, like, well thought out. Again, maybe the book, again, again, this is just on the movie, but giving the benefit of the doubt that maybe in the book it was a lot more fleshed out, a lot more interesting. The twist might be more of a ooh twist, kind of thing, because, I don't know, maybe because when I saw Scream, I was, like, really young, because it was like, 96, 94 or something when the movie came out. So maybe when it was revealed who the killers were, I was like, oh, shit, Again, now, thinking about it, like, well, it's kind of obvious. But, I don't know, this felt like it was trying to do... like it was trying to do something like Scream, where like the killers were quote unquote smarter than everyone else, but I don't know, the killers in Scream were a little bit smarter. But then again, there's that joke about how like if they were just allowed to just be like homosexuals with one another, they probably wouldn't have killed. People were like, if Billy and Stu were allowed to just freaking fuck each other and be gay, they wouldn't have taken out their pent up, like, internalized, like, homophobia on everyone. Oh, I love shit like that. Anyway, but yeah, like, I don't know, this kid seemed less of the first Scream and more of the fourth Scream, which was, like, trying to be too self-aware and too smart, but it's not, and again, the cops are coming after me for talking about gay stuff. Yeah, just, like, it was fine, but then once it was, like, revealed that was the killer, it was like, oh, okay, again, it was, like, interesting that, like, again, it was interesting, but if you want to be that person, be like, well, how the fuck did he, like, set that up and do all this stuff? And I guess, like, he's rich, that kind of stuff, because, and also, you kind of think about, like, how did he end up in that group? Again, maybe, like, not because of his money, but probably because he was like a weirdo. But if you kind of think about it, it's like that group probably took him in because they're like, well, like we are the weirdos. See, we're talking about the Craft Legacy again. They're probably just really nice kids, obviously, because they let the ostracized football player sit with them and all that stuff. So I can see that, but it's just like, God, just to be that asshole, like you're the rich kid and you couldn't even get into the popular group, like God, honey, you know. Maybe that's why you did kill. You wanted to be with the group of people who wore Hollister, but instead you're with the people who like buy all their clothes from Zoomies or something like that. I don't know. These are very old takes because I'm an old person. Um, 'cause I went to school when Hollister opened up, and then like every freaking, I guess you would say, preppy kid just came into school one day with Hollister stuff, and I was like, "Is this an ad?" I remember I got a lot of shit because I was like, "Is this an ad? We're on the East Coast, not the West Coast. Is this an ad? What's going on?" You're like, "Shut up! You're fat and gay, and like a boy, but not a boy. I don't know what you are, so I hate you." Anyway, anytime any movie is about high school, it's just like, oh, I get nom flashbacks. Anyway, this is not a good movie. Obviously, it's not a good movie. It's just, God, Netflix, your budget. You have this money to do all this stuff, but you just like, why do you choose this? I think why am I asking? Because it's like, again, you throw the dart at the board, and sometimes you get a based on the book thing, you get Fear Street, and you're like, yes! And then sometimes you get there's someone in your house, and it's like, no. Which again, I think only happened like twice. It was in someone's house, because then the other time was a church, and then it was in a school, and then in a cornfield. There's someone ominously around you. That's what this. Actually, that'd been great. Oh my god, if I ever make like a horror film, just title it the most like Captain Obvious like thing, like whatever trope thing, but then like, you have to make it a good movie, Like, oh man, it's gotta be like art house or something. It's gotta be something ridiculous. It's either something like ridiculously art housey kind of fucking A24 shit, or it's gotta be just like it's gotta be like Malignant kind of thing where it's just like, oh, this is just ridiculous. Anywho, I've talked for way too long about this movie. So yes, that was I almost forgot the name of the movie. Oh my god. There's someone in your house. I mean, there is someone in my house right now. It's called my mother, and she's probably just like, doing her old people thing. But anyway, I'm done talking. I'm done. Why do I keep talking? Shut the fuck up. I'm done. Hi.